In this season, the enemy wants your mind. He wants you to be distracted. And the biggest thing out of them all, he wants you to be in fear. He wants you to experience a level of fear to where it cripples you. Because he knows if he can get you to that point where fear is crippling you, he can have you stop whatever it is God needs for you to do and wants for you to be doing in your life. So daily, pray against the spirit of fear, yes, but also taking actual steps to derail when you have those thoughts of fear and anxiousness that comes up in your mind. Get Bible scriptures, reading Psalms, Psalms 91, Psalms 27, Psalms 93, I want to say, Isaiah 54 and 17, and there's more you can look up. But recite these prayers and chapters, read them over and keep reading them so it gets down in your spirit. And also speak positive things into your mind. As soon as something negative comes up, say, the Lord has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Whatever version you want to read of that, take it and run with it. But in this season, we're going to have to continue to fill ourselves up with the word and also positive things. But also, we have to be mindful that we are not exempt from the things that happen in fleshly things. So we may encounter certain things that we go through, and it's just a natural reaction to life, and it's just a natural reaction to certain things, and we have to remember that and go through the emotion, but also push past it. And that's the biggest thing. The enemy wants us to get into a place where we get stuck and where we get stagnated, and to where we don't want to do anything, and we begin to doubt God, and we begin to feel all these feelings. But stay focused and continue to shake it off and know, what God has for you, what God has said for you, and what God has already told you, all those things, and continue to push forward. But also acknowledge the real life stuff that happens. Let's make sure we do that, to be realistic about the situations, but then also believing our Father in heaven for the things that he can do that we can't do, type of things. But the first thing is acknowledging what the problem is, accepting it, and then moving forward. So knowing that, I know what the problem is, I accept it, I know that I can't change it, so okay, I can give it to God, because now I have an understanding of I physically can't do nothing in this situation, or I physically can't do anything at this time to change anything or change any outcomes, things like that. So I now have to give it to God, and allow him to do what he needs to do. So again, this takes practice. It takes a lot of practice to do this. You're not going to get it overnight. And it may be some situations where you just like, I gave it to God. But then there may be some situations where you just like, listen, it's too hard, or it's too much. You know what I mean? It's going to take practice. And a lot of times in situations we have never been in before. So we really don't know how to give it to God, because it's such a uncharted situation and kind of like off the rails of what you're kind of used to before. So it's almost like you don't really know what to do, because you're feeling emotions that you never really felt before. And that's fine, and that's okay. And it's just learning. Everything that we go through will be to help somebody else. You know what I mean? So the situation you have, apply the old techniques to it, You find out what works and you find out what doesn't work, and you move on from there, and that's it. It's hard, but go. And don't let people make you feel bad, like, oh, you're supposed to be a man or a woman of God, and you preaching this and you're doing this and you're doing that, and you feeling like this or you feeling like that, or you saying this and that. Don't let people make you feel bad for having fleshly emotions. If you're preaching, teaching the gospel to people, you're just a vessel that God uses, meaning you're still a human being, meaning you still have flesh, meaning you still have emotions, meaning you still go through life, meaning you still have temptations, meaning you still have struggles. Same old thing. It's just an inward change of, all right, I'm changing my life of sin to do better, meaning I don't want to do this no more, or I'm taking steps to do better. That's what it is. Giving your life to Christ, saying, you know what, God, I'm not going to do this no more. I'm not going to smoke no more. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to take the effort of, I'm going to smoke less, or I'm not going to smoke no more. I'm not going to do this no more. I'm not going to do that no more. And I mean, really put an effort in not to do it. That's what we're talking about, an inward change for outside appearance. And it's not like you're going to be perfect, and people got this conception of Christians or believers or whatever that they're perfect, they're this, they're that, and oh my God, I seen this person doing this and this person doing that. Okay, it doesn't matter. That's what they're struggling with, and you're able to see it. So what? What are you talking about them for? But if they wasn't talking about God, and if they wasn't doing this and doing that, you'd be perfectly fine with what they're doing. Y'all could be doing the same thing, but since they talk about God, it's such a big problem. That person's heart can be set on every day a goal of quitting. And you can have a heart set in remaining to do this with no intention on quitting at all. The only thing that's different is the heart. And that's why in the scripture it says, the Lord looks at, the person's heart. He looks at our hearts. Just because you see somebody doing something on the outside, you don't know on the inside, what they're feeling and what the steps they're doing and the steps that they're taking to not do what they're doing anymore. So that's why, really understanding throughout the years of growing and practicing and living life and actually experiencing life, when people get into situations, now you see why people be doing some of the stuff that they be doing. And sometimes it's not that they want to do it, but life happens. And sometimes some people feel pushed in a corner, backed up in a corner, alone, this, that, whatever. So you can't judge people by what they do because you're never in their situation. And then sometimes some people be like, I'll never do that. And then once they get in the situation, they do the same thing or something worse. And not that any sin is greater than any other sin, but I'm just saying, you never know what you will do or are capable of until you're pushed into a corner type of thing. So I say that to say, keep that in mind, and it lets you know, don't judge, because you can easily be in that situation. You can easily be where they are. You can easily have that mindset and not even knowing like how I get here. It's easy. We go through life and things happen. So continue to take that, keep that in, remembrance. Always go to God in prayer. Everything you hear, somebody prophesied you this to that, go to God. You know what I mean? Just because somebody's preaching something and you may not like how they're preaching it or what they're doing, everything they may be saying may not be right. You may feel some type of way. Let me say that. The thing is, when a preacher or a pastor is preaching, it is not up to you to pick the person apart. Their job is to preach what the word says, and that's it. Some people are so caught up on what the pastor and the preacher looks like and what they're doing and what they're wearing, that is irrelevant. That is a distraction the enemy wants you to focus on. You're focusing so much on a man's appearance, man as in woman and man. you're missing the message. So you're so irritated and mad about this and that and that and this and that. Did you get the message? Oh, well, I couldn't focus because I was looking at... You missed it. And that's what the enemy wants you to do. He wants you to be distracted. So don't let the enemy distract you like that. The main purpose, focus on the word. What are you getting out of the messages? What is the meat that you are getting out of these messages, and how can you apply it to your life? And if you see something that ain't right, you pray for the person and you move forward. You never know what person is in their life, and that's why I keep saying that. Nobody's going to be perfect, and people, they expect people of God to be this perfect and, buttoned up, tied, hair pulled back, hair slicked down people. That's false expectations, and you're setting yourself up for failure because nobody said that they're perfect. Nobody said that. So you're setting yourself up for failure, putting those expectations on people. That's it. And granted, there's some people out there that act like they too goody two shoes and they ain't doing nothing wrong, this and that. We all sin every day, all day. Sometimes we know it and sometimes we don't know it. That's just what it is. Okay? So I love you guys. Take care.